I'm reading a book by James Maxwell, great book, Developing the Leader Within You. And I think part of obviously becoming a leader is really developing yourself. Part of this business of being successful is knowing who's on your team. And knowing who's on your team, a lot of ways, dictates your success, but in a lot of ways it doesn't, because you can lose with good players on your team, but you cannot win without them. And so knowing who to bring on your team is a really big part of this. So my tip to you today is I'm going to read this, just a little blurb from his book here. But he says often he's asked in leadership conversation or conferences what or how they know. He says, how do you know which staff person to hire? And I laugh and I say, you never know for sure. My track record underscores the comment. However, here are some guidelines that I've tried when looking for staff. Now, he's talking about staff that you hire as a W-2. And obviously, in our Jamberry business, that's not necessarily what we do. We might be hiring at some point an assistant or someone to join our team to sell for us maybe. But most often, we're going to be hiring 1099s to work below us, which is way, way easier on a tax budget anyways. But the principles are the same. So know what you need before you start looking. Who is a good person on your team? Who are the leaders around you? What qualities do they have? What qualities are you looking for in your next person that you're going to bring on your team? And I want you to think about those and really look at those people and seek those people out. So for me, I'm looking for a go-getter. I'm looking for somebody who really wants to make a difference, either in their lives, financially, they really want a place to belong, socially, they need an outlet. There are so many reasons why people do this job. They love the product, they're really sociable, all of those things. Why and who are you looking for? So know what you want before you go looking for it, right? Naturally, you're going to find what you want a little bit easier if you know what you're looking for. Take time to search the field, right? In your parties, take time, develop those relationships, seek people out, but do the work. You're not going to get there when you don't. Call many references. You guys, how many of us, myself included, have never talked to family and friends about Jamberry because we're nervous or whatever it might be? If they say they don't want to join, that's fine. You can then follow up with the question of, great, I understand that this isn't for everyone or this might not be the time for you. Can you point me in the direction of somebody that you know that really might benefit from an extra $600 a month or might benefit from having a little bit of a social outlet because they're stuck at home as a stay-at-home mom or whatever. Maybe they're injured and they have to take some time off of work. Who knows, right? You never know the blessings that Jamberry can bring someone, and it might not always be financially, okay? Remember that. Include your associates in for some interviews and ask their input, right? So maybe this is where you bring them in for a sneak peek and you invite them to ask, or you conduct true interviews. Some of the, Morgan Cullen, who's an elite, she honestly does interviews, like 3 of them, before they join their team. So she knows that they're going to be quality and that they see the value or that this is a business and they're going to treat it as such. Interview with candidate spouses, right? I've had that. Some of my best leaders on the team, I sat down with them and their husbands and I talked through this business with them. And I was straight up honest. I said, you know what? It's a job. It's a job. So it's not always going to pay really well. It's commission based, okay? It's not going to pay really well some months and it's going to pay amazing some months. It's not going to be, here, post one thing on the internet and make $500 because that's not a business, okay? All those kinds of questions. Don't be afraid to be real. If possible, have a trial run to see if the job and potential staff match their qualifications. Bring them to a vendor event. How amazing. You can see how they interact and they can sell for you for maybe one day, or bring them to an upcoming party, okay? Give them a trial run. And then ask the hard questions. Why did you leave your other job? Why don't you like it? What can you contribute to the team, or what can you think you can do as your own business owner? And are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to put the hours in to make this work? And then trust your instincts. I love that one. Because sometimes, he says, if you're looking for someone that looks great on paper but makes you feel bad inside, go slowly. I also have other leaders on my team that wish that they never allowed someone on their team because they're causing a lot of trouble, drama, stirring up issues on their team page, etc. So he says, in fact, back off. Let an associate take over the interview process and compare the conclusions. I only hire a person if it looks good and feels good. And this is where your team manager or maybe your sponsor or someone else can jump in and say, feel this person out for me. And then again, it's creating more of a job-like environment that they are actually hired to do, which means that they will maybe be more excited to jump in and because it's a real job, or they might be more hesitant, and in being more hesitant, that might be a good thing, and they might weed themselves out if that's not a good fit. You don't want everyone on your team, okay? You just don't. There are some people that are bad eggs, and they're going to spoil the batch that you have. So you want somebody that's going to love what they're doing, put in the work, and be a good asset to your team, because it's ultimately your time and money as well. So he says, remember, you can lose with good players. It's not guaranteed that if you get the right people, you're going to make it to elite, okay? It's not guaranteed. So you can lose with good players on your team, but you cannot win without them. And so I pressure you, or pressure, that's not the word I'm looking for, but I want to strongly encourage you to go after some people. Make some calls today. Go find some people and start the interview process, because it's going to be a fun one. And when you get the right people on your team, it happens, and it's so fun to cheer them on and watch their successes. And obviously, hopefully, you're going to succeed in the process, but just developing somebody is a really fun thing to do. So I am happy to share this tip with you. I love John Maxwell, and I love, love, love working on yourself, because when you are working on yourself, things naturally happen. Work on your business and work on yourself, and you will be a golden rock star soon.